And I told you people, some people say, Jeremiah, some people did not hear me well. Jeremiah said before the ending of the month, the baby will come out or blah, blah. I said, forget about those things. I said, good news will come. There is confusion in the camp of my enemies. And immediately the following day, the good news came. And everybody heard the story. Abi?
Yes, Papa.
The confusion. I know hear them.
Greetings, people. It's Mr. Pull the Trigger yet again on another episode of the Enlightenment series. So, as you heard, Papa J has just suddenly made a U-turn. And now he is disputing that what he said is what he meant. This is what all these prophets do. This is what they all say. They make reckless utterances. They make huge promises. But they know they can't deliver. On the basis of them being prophetic, or like I always tell you, that they can't see. They can't see anything. When you heard Jeremiah in the first video, when he said that within 14 days a baby is coming, if I be a prophet of God, do you see how they emphasize before they make a prophecy? Do you see the psychological manipulation that they use, even on people, when they want people to believe that they are really hearing from God, when they want to remove any iota of doubt in the minds and perceptions of people that they are trying to give prophecies to? Now imagine yourself, you go there and then you say, Papa, I have a problem and I need to find a job. I need to get a marriage. And then he comes in front of you. If I be a prophet of God, you shall find your husband within the next 2 months, within the next 6 months, within the next year. You will receive. If you had anything in your pocket, in your account, any valuable asset, you trade it for that prophecy. You give it away because he had made you believe that if he be pay attention to this. If I be a prophet of God, he's placing a challenge on God to say, if I be a prophet of God, this baby will come within 4 days. It might not be even 4 days. It can be any time between now and the next 4 days. And what will you do if that baby comes? That's what he said. Even, I don't know the gestures that he was doing. What will you do if the baby comes? If he comes from anywhere. Okay, just in case you think I'm exaggerating, check this out.
Zoom people, if the baby come out or from anywhere, are you ready to celebrate with me? That accusation. I am telling you, listen, before the ending of this month, this story is a bygone story. Who is the prophet? Okay, if I want to ask somebody now, if this baby comes out, what will you do? What will you do?
I will rededicate myself to God.
Did you listen to the confidence that he had when he made this so-called prophecy? I know this was not a prophecy at all. I was just trying to propel him in my previous posts to get him to a point to just see if he can be motivated enough or if he can have enough reason to prove that he is a prophet. But that was not a prophet. That was not a prophecy, I mean. It wasn't a prophecy. Do you know what that was? That was a confession. In black and white. That was a full confession that Jeremiah made. But after he made that confession, he was advised to say, Papa, this is risky. You can't bring out this child now. They will know. They will know, Papa. They will know. So between the first day he gave that prophecy up to today, they've been trying to come up with the very best script that they can possibly come up with to bring this child out. But none of those scripts would make sense. It's because of you people. I blame you people. You know why? When I post that video, when he posted that video, it's the comments that you'll be going through and seeing that people already know what I'm going to do. Because here, this is not, social media is this power. It's not social media. The right way to position what we are doing on this medium, call it the current state of the internet. When we keep saying social media, we take the value of it. But this medium is more powerful than your televisions, than your mainstream media platforms. These platforms, they are more powerful than your televisions, than your newspapers, because the message here is undiluted. The message here is coming from the people. It's coming from the victims. A newspaper, it's doctored. I saw they wrote an article in Vanguard. It's doctored. There's twist, but no one cares about newspapers anymore. That's why they are threatened by this movement. And we thank God for technology. So when Papa J comes and watches and sees and views comments, all his plans are exposed. Because people were given the scenarios which Jeremiah might use to bring back the child. From my own perspective, what I thought he was going to do, how I thought he had scripted the coming back of the baby, I thought it was going to happen on Sunday, during Sunday service. A woman from Norway was just going to come and say, Papa, I'm the one with the child. I can't keep the child anymore. I stole the child. I was working. I was given the child by Ruth. Something like that. That's what I thought. That was the script that I thought Jeremiah was going to use to bring back the child. But all that was exploded and exposed in the comments. Because there are so many intellects amongst you who can calculate. It was obvious that this was not a prophecy. This was Jeremiah confessing that the child is about to come. I'm going to release the child. And the reason why he was compelled to make that prophecy is because he had felt the pressure. He couldn't take it anymore. But he had a point to prove. And the point to prove was to just bring the baby out. But now that people, their eyes are open, they already know what's going to come. People can't be fooled anymore. So in the entire script, in all the scripts that they came up with, none of them would make sense. None of the scripts that they came up with would make sense. A script as to how to bring back the child. So he realized that he made a mistake. That prophecy realized that it was going to compromise him. And he was told that, Papa, this is going to take you down. You'll be held accountable. This is going to be too obvious. So he had a choice to make here. Whether to be labeled a false prophet or to be held accountable for testimony, for the disappearance of testimony. One thing I can tell you, I can attest to from the confession Jeremiah made on that so-called prophecy, he is the one that is in custody of the boy. Testimony is with Jeremiah omoto. I don't know if you need any other prophet from where to come and give you a prophecy to say or to locate where testimony is. We all know now that testimony is with Jeremiah, but he does not know how to bring him out now. He does not know. It's not going to be easy for him to bring him out because he exhausted all the potential scripts that he can use to bring out testimony. Any way that testimony comes out, it will implicate him. So he does not know how. That's where now the fight begins. We are going back to the drawing board. To those that thought it ends here, when the prophet doesn't manifest or when the prophet ends, you got another thing coming. The disadvantage that Jeremiah has in this matter, that is not being handled by a blogger. I'm not a blogger. My greatest strength is commitment. I'm like a pit bull. Have you ever seen a pit bull fight? When a pit bull bites in a fight, it does not let go until the opponent is completely neutralized or it's no longer breathing. That's the spirit that I have. I don't know how to let go until I see results. That's the biggest challenge that Jeremiah is facing right now. Maybe he thought it's going to end here. It does not end here. It begins now. We've made progress so far. Good progress. Don't allow the propaganda that you've been seeing on the internet from different blogs and different bloggers try to deter us from the vision. Don't even lose, your enthusiasm on this matter. This matter has just been given more power. This story, this case study, it has now more relevance than before. So don't lose your morale as yet. Testimony still needs to be fought for. Testimony is still missing. There is no amount of propaganda under the sun concerning the issue, this issue at hand, that can neutralize this pursuit. So this is my advice to bloggers that have been ranting a lot of nonsense out there. You are wasting your time. You are wasting your time. You can spread different narratives, try to accuse Ruth, persecute Ruth. Ruth did this, Ruth did that. Ruth is a liar. Her story is what? But it's not going to neutralize this because there is me on the other side. And I told you, my greatest strength is commitment, and none of you are committed. As committed as I am. So you can't stand this. Don't do that propaganda. Don't even waste your time. Even Jeremiah going to buy newspapers, to write articles, the Vanguard, the crippled woman has been lying, is trying to extort money from Jeremiah. Come on, don't waste your time. We are going to get to the bottom, to the roots of this matter. If it means this ends anywhere, any day, any time, we will get there, but the child must be brought back to the mother. Testimony must go back to the mother. I am not going to stop now. This is where we start. Now we need to apply times 100 pressure that we applied before, more than what we had applied before. Because at least now we have a clue that Jeremiah has the child, but he does not know how to bring out the child. Jeremiah's testimony is not yours. Oh, unless if you are the biological father. Unless if you are the biological father. That can be the only reason why you are holding on to this child. And what happened to testimony? How testimony was abducted? I told you. I'm going to give you the full gist. It's not a conspiracy theory, but I'll just put it out there for you to connect the dots. I only waited this far so that we can see what Jeremiah's plans are. The disadvantage that these people have, your charlatans, your fathers, your spiritual fathers, they don't have brains in their committees, in their administration. They just have a bunch of gullible souls who do not think on their own, who are doing everything. Whenever they advise Jeremiah, they are just advising him, with a yes, papa mentality. That they don't want to offend him. They don't want to tell him the truth. So any advice that these charlatans get from their administration, from their committees, it's biased. It always leads them up in a trap like this, in a predicament like this. So they are confused instead of us being confused, because these other prophets was that there will be confusion in the camp of the enemy. But now there's confusion in Jeremiah's camp because they made a big mistake to make that big confession that within 4 days the baby will be found. So it's too late for him now to try to change what he meant, the context of what he meant. If that's not what he meant, why did he delete the video of the prophecy that he gave? Do you see how deceptive these people are? These are a bunch of liars who come to you in the name of prophecy. We can prophesy. What prophecy can these people give? That was not a prophecy that Jeremiah gave. It was a confession. And I'm glad that it's everywhere and everyone has it. We can use that one in court to say this was a pure confession. What will you do if that baby comes? But then he realized that it's going to implicate him. He realized it and he was advised that, Papa, it's better they call you a false prophet than for them to know that you are the one who was with the child. The spirit of testimony is still fighting. And we are still going to pursue this fight until Jeremiah brings back testimony. There was no confusion here. Don't even be, your perceptions be diluted by what other people have been saying. There's no any confusion. We know what we're doing. I know what I'm doing. Bear with me. This is a fight that is worth fighting, of all fights. It does not end here. Now we have more reason to put every system in place to make sure that Jeremiah is held accountable, to make sure that Jeremiah gives us back the child. This is our child. This is our little brother. We have to fight for his justice. And Jeremiah has to own up and brought to book and explain to us what he did with that child or what he's doing with that child. Jeremiah's wife, he has to be brought to book as well. She knows where that child is. She knows. Why do I say she knows? I'll explain. Not now, but I'll explain. There are people that know where this child is. Jeremiah wants this child for his own benefit. He's never going to sacrifice that child. Even though there are other conspiracy theories that at that pool, that fish tank, that fish pond, whatever, the people are saying there are dead bodies there. That's what people are saying. This is a conspiracy theory which I cannot back up, but I am just hearing it. that the fish that you see in that pond, they get fed with human flesh. That's what I'm hearing from people. The possibility of all this to be true, it's high. You can never defend these charlatans when it comes to these things of rituals and doing anything that gives them power. They can do anything. They can go an extra mile. So that fish pond has to be investigated as well. Don't just eat that fish. Don't just buy that fish. He made so many lies at one point. That fish, this fish is not for what, it's not for sale, and what, it's for this and this and this. In another interview, he contradicted himself again. He said, no, I'm a businessman. I'm selling this fish. This is where most of my money comes from. What money comes from selling that fish? So be careful, you people that goes to Jeremiah Omoto's shrine and you buy that fish. Be very careful. You don't know what you're eating. You have no idea whatsoever. You don't know. These charlatans cannot be trusted. They'll do anything. When I say anything, I mean anything. To make sure that they secure their own. If I be a prophet of God, Jeremiah, you be a prophet of God. How can you be a prophet of God? You can never be a prophet of God. You are a prophet of Baal. You were never called. You called yourself. There is no God in you. There is no any Holy Spirit in you. Whatever that you're doing it to please yourself and to advance your agenda in the kingdom of darkness. So don't be fooled, my people. Don't be fooled. Don't allow yourself to be fooled. We all knew that he was never going to bring this baby. This easy. This is too easy. This was too easy for him to bring the baby. It was too easy. Now we have to apply pressure. You understand? Now it's time for us to apply real pressure. We were playing before. Since the gentleman confessed, and now we have two realities here. The guy is a false prophet. It's proven by the unfulfillment of his utterances. He's a false prophet. That is now clear that we don't have a prophet under the sun. And now we need to know where he has testimony. My fear is now, my greatest fear, he might make that child disappear. He might. Chances are high that he would never, now he can't risk this child to be known where he is. That is the biggest detriment that is at our disposal now. That's what might happen. Because definitely that child is well groomed. And they've been teaching him behind the scenes. They've been manipulating him. They've been coaching him. I'll tell you the plan that Jeremiah had for this child. What we have done now, or what I've done now, I have intercepted his long-term plan that he had with this child. Remember, this child looks like him. Remember that. I'm just giving you pointers of things that I'll be addressing in the next episode, which will make you understand where that child is and what happened to the child. Remember, the child looks exactly like him. There's resemblance there, which is even making some of you question if he's the biological father. And remember, Jeremiah does not have a son. Just remember that. Don't put it into perspective yet until I come and explain everything to you. Remember, the guy does not have a son. He doesn't. And also remember, sometime around the time that Ruth lost this child, Jeremiah's wife was pronounced to have had given birth, but she had never been pregnant. If you're in Wari, if you're in Jeremiah's shrine, you know this. There was a mini celebration that was done when Jeremiah's wife was announced to have had given birth to a baby boy. Don't connect any dots as yet. Wait for me, I'm coming. As Nigerians say when they want to make a point, I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm coming. Wait there. Hold it right there. I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm coming. And after that announcement, the story never went anywhere. It was just kept quiet. It was just kept, a secret. But the announcement was made that the woman gave birth. But she was never seen pregnant at any point in time. And she had never been pregnant that time. And that was the same time that we lost testimony. That was around the same time that testimony was pronounced to have disappeared. So what I have done here, I have intercepted Jeremiah's long-term plan with the boy. So he does not have a plan for this boy anymore. He doesn't. He does not have a plan for this boy anymore, which is now my greatest fear. It's now my biggest fear. That whilst we are fighting for him, they might be executing him. That's the truth. So now that's where we need to come and put our heads together. How do we handle this matter? How do we deal with it? So I'll leave you thinking, it's Mr. Pull the trigger. Process this. Think about this. It's now serious now. A life is at risk. It is. It's at risk, the biggest risk ever. So how do we work this out? Please come through with ideas, with what you think. But I pray that Jeremiah comes back to his conscience and, he does not brutalize this little boy. He doesn't deserve it. I hope Jeremiah's wife can also have the motherly conscience and not allow her husband go that extra mile. Please, if Jeremiah's wife, if you're watching me right now, please be a mother for once. Be a mother for once. Pull your man back. Reason with him, please. There's no shame that will be brought to you if that child comes back. No shame at all. It's honor. That's being honorable. That's being honorable. For the sake of testimony, please don't make the wrong decisions about that boy because you will regret it for the rest of your miserable lives. Jeremiah and your wife and the few people that are involved in the disappearance, in the abduction of testimony. That's my appeal to you. If you're watching me, and I know you are, don't do anything stupid. Don't do it. Please. I'm begging you. I'm not challenging you this time around. I'm begging you. Think about Ruth, the mother. Don't do it. So till I meet you again on the next episode of the Enlightenment series, I'm signing out. It's Mr. Pull the Trigger.